Welcome back to another episode of the Live Shit
Get banged.
podcast. Smashed it.
We'll see how many weeks in a row we can get that right.
So Ben you're back from the dead this week.
That is the exact phrasing I used to my clients, not to be dramatic.
You were literally out cold. So Rachel actually messaged me. I haven't told you this. And she was like, is Ben alive? Have you spoken to Ben this week? And I was like, yeah, he sent me a voice note this morning, but you sounded like shit.
Yeah, Sophia rightfully, and me being me, I messaged Sophia and was like, right, I've just recovered from the virus. I'm going to do a solo podcast today. And Sophia was like, shut up.
Just go to bed.
Like, yeah, stop. But yeah, I got to 29 years old before I really experienced my first period of being proper ill.
Yeah, I mean, it's lucky that you got to this point.
My parents definitely thought I was being a bit dramatic, and they're going to listen to this when I phoned them and was like,
man flu.
I was like, what do I do? Like, I can't stop, not TMI, but I can't stop being sick. Like, I'm going to be dehydrated. Like, am I going to have to go to the hospital? And they were like, no, like, you can go 3 or 4 days before you need to. And I was like, oh. I literally thought I was on death's door.
I love how you are a parent, but you still call your parents like, Mum, Dad, I know I'm an adult, but I don't know how to handle this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that.
I don't think it matters how old you get. Not everything, but I don't think it matters how old you get. There's nothing more reassuring than calling your parents.
No.
But
Also,
yeah.
on a side note, my mum, so this is really cute. She wrote me a Valentine's Day card. It's literally adorable. So cute. So no matter what age you are, your parents are still your parents at the end of the day.
Yeah. I got Lila a little single rose.
Ben!
A Minions card with a little heart popping out of it this morning.
So Lila is Ben's daughter, just to
Yeah.
To be clear.
Yeah, not some random little girl.
No, that would be weird. But so how did you kind of get back on the mend this week? What was your approach post-death?
Post coming close to death, and then as what always follows me being ill, there was a little bit of a dramatic period where I thought I was still dying.
Fairs.
But I had this conversation with clients a lot this week because
everyone's been ill.
Lots of my clients had the same thing or similar.
I swear half of Literal Bits, our group coaching program, have been just wiped out this week with some kind of flu, norovirus, something's been going down.
And I think, and one of my clients said to me on a call yesterday, she was like, I'm really glad you shared that with me because I forget that you guys aren't superhuman as trainers. And
what do you mean? Like, yes, we are.
And it's so funny to
we
us.
We are superhuman.
Behind the scenes, we're just flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah, everything's fine.
But
no,
she found it refreshing to know that I hadn't trained in 10 days and I wasn't worried about all of my gains disappearing. Although I'm coming off the back of a period of being quite detrained, there weren't many gains to disappear.
It happens.
But I had just started to get back into a really enjoyable period of training. And I said, we were talking about how it's gutting. It's gutting if you're in the middle of a really good flow with training. Yeah. But there isn't anything we can do about it. And this isn't our topic for today, but the research shows that it takes a good kind of 3 weeks to lose any serious strength or muscle. And I think that can always give us peace of mind when we are laid up in bed thinking, oh my God, are my gains vanishing in front of my eyes? How am I going to get back into it? A couple of weeks of training is not going to make any difference in the grand scheme of things. It just sucks.
Yeah.
It just sucks if we're in a nice flow, but there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to go back into that first session, that first week, take it a little bit easier, kind of see it as just movement is medicine. Like, be grateful to be back in the gym. Just give your body a chance to move again and then go from there.
And not talk to yourself like a dick for being ill, because sometimes it's out of your control. Nobody wants to be ill. We didn't choose this life. And if you are on the struggle bus with being poorly this week and you are talking to yourself like a dick, go and scoot back to episode 17. And there is a full breakdown from me being ill actually 2 weeks ago and actually how to navigate that in more depth and what you can focus on so that we can continue to make progress in the right direction.
I was laughing because I just realised that the entire episode we've just filmed, I didn't look at the camera once. I looked at the microphone.
I mean, that's okay.
For some reason.
Might look a bit creepy, but...
So every time I was talking to the camera, I'm looking like 3 feet left of it.
Sorry, guys, we're creeping you out.
Well, flying by the seat of my pants, as we said.
Right, let's do segment time. Unfucking your fitness. There we go. So this week's topic, we're going to be talking about, this actually is something that I have seen consistently on my social media, mainly from women who have decided to do more Pilates versus strength training.
Yeah, I haven't seen this. So I'm going to be
Interesting.
enlightened.
And for a little bit of insight, I love Pilates. I actually used to teach mat Pilates, for anybody that doesn't know. It is a fantastic way to move your body to improve stability, coordination, your core strength. And I will always be so supportive. We will always be so supportive of anybody who has found a way to move that they enjoy. But the big myth that we're going to unfuck today is that when you are doing exercise with high reps, low weight, this is going to be better for toning and being lean versus doing strength training and movement with high weight, lower reps.
I thought you were going to talk about the AI Pilates.
No, that was the Asian Pilates.
That's what I was saying. Like me, like I haven't seen it.
Maybe that's the topic.
I have seen plenty of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's great that people are finding movement that they are enjoying, but associating being more toned with specifically Pilates, it's not because of the Pilates. You know, it is a consequence perhaps that they are moving in a way that they enjoy, that they are in now a calorie deficit.
And I think you guys are going to see with this theme that a lot of this stuff that we're dispelling is things that people have taken a snippet of, that logically makes sense. Like, so it comes from, say, I always think of a lateral raise when I think of toning. People feel a burn in the muscle doing a lateral raise, and they feel like that burn for high reps must mean that the muscle is being broken down and it's toning and it's going to come back more muscular. And when they do a heavy barbell squat and they don't feel much muscle activation, logically we think that can't be growing muscle, that can't be toning my body. A lot of it is just a misunderstanding of what's actually happening to make those things happen. A lot of this stuff we're going to discuss is just things that seem logical, but people have just misunderstood what's actually causing it underneath.
Yeah, and backing it up with the studies to show it as well, because the actual concept of toning is being able to build muscle but then getting lean enough.
I think something that's really important as well is, I know you're similar to me in that I will use the word toning with a client on a consultation call. If a client says to me, I want to get toned, we don't go, don't use that word. What you really mean is you need to gain muscle and be lean enough, because we know what that means to the client, but it's that misunderstanding of how do we get what we deem as toned, isn't it?
Yeah, most efficiently. And this is what we want to make super clear, is that you can technically build muscle at any rep range, or roughly between kind of 5 and 30 reps is kind of the general consensus. And the important part is that we are training close to failure and training with the correct intensity. And the reason why we have different types of rep ranges, because you might be thinking, well, if that is the case, why is it that we don't just do super high reps all of the time and we use lighter weights? And the key reason is because it's not effective. It's not efficient for recovery. It can mean that we end up fatiguing very quickly and it is hard to sustain. And there are more optimal ways of approaching it. Generally, when we are thinking about improving muscular endurance, which basically means that we can go for longer, we would be working within a higher rep range, so more towards kind of the 30 or 35 repetitions. But if you are training close to failure whilst you are doing that, you will still see some predominant, muscle growth. So it's not saying that doing Pilates, you're not going to see aesthetic changes, because you likely will, especially if you're new to it.
Yeah.
But it means that we have to do a lot more in order to get there. So say, for example, you were in your session doing 3 sets of 30 deadlifts. That's going to be exhausting, and your recovery from that is going to be suboptimal.
Yeah.
If we look at the other side of the spectrum, so I think people assume that then, okay, if that is the case, then doing lower reps for higher weight and doing strength repetitions is going to make me bulky, or I'm not going to build muscle. But it's just a different way to get into that end stimulus. So we want to be able to recruit those muscle fibers and be able to push the intensity of our training to a point where we can stimulate muscle growth. And strength training is doing that, but just in a different way. So we would be pushing close to failure, but using a higher weight and lower repetitions.
Yeah. And if you guys are wondering, how do we pick rep ranges when we program for clients? It's mostly based off of the exercise and that client.
Yeah.
Like you said, if we could technically grow muscle doing a sets of 5 on a squat and sets of 30. I don't know any of my clients that would want to do a set of 30 on squats. If I put that in their program, I'd probably get quite a rude message.
Yeah. And it would take fucking ages.
And I think, I don't know about you, but I will in terms of the people we work with, I'll quite rarely program anything past 20, because it's not because it's not effective. It's because, you try concentrating with good form, good technique. I don't know why I'm doing a lateral raise again.
Everything's a lat raise.
Long enough that you're reaching true failure at like 28. Not many people have the attention span and the skill to be able to pick a weight accurately enough that we know we're going to fail somewhere between 25 and 30 or 20 and 30. So if we have that understanding again that we can build muscle somewhere between 5, 6 to 30 reps, can then have so much flexibility with what rep ranges we actually do, and base a lot of it around the exercise, enjoyment, us as an individual. And I think that enjoyment part is quite big for me as well, especially with the people that we work with and in my own training. Like, I have clients that some people prefer slightly higher rep ranges, some people prefer everything being 10 or below. And it's what are you going to turn up to the gym and put effort into progressively and consistently week in, week out, which will cause us to gain muscle.
And we have clients that do just prefer different styles of training. And I guess then the question would be, okay, well, if finding that intensity is going to be the thing to focus on, then why don't I just go straight in balls to wall lifting heavy? And the way that we program our training for our clients and ourselves is often we'll go through phases of high repetitions and accumulation, then maybe coming into more hypertrophy reps, which means like muscle growth. And then we'll come into maybe strength phases. And the main reason that we do that is, managing fatigue, as we've spoken about, but also to make sure that we're not putting a lot of stress on the joints, that we've got the knowledge on how to lift with great technique, that we've got a good understanding of, okay, what does failure actually look like? So if we're working towards RPE 8, like knowing that the rep needs to slow down and what that should actually feel like. And if you go straight into lifting heavy and doing like a 3 rep max on a deadlift, especially if you've never done training like that before, you are at a much higher risk of being prone to injury. And, once again, we're falling out of like optimal training and the intensity is much higher as well. And, for recovery too. So we tend to go through phases of different rep ranges to support you and for different exercises as well.
Yeah. And I think it's always so important to not bash what we see other people doing as well, because in this context, obviously we're talking about hypertrophy and toning, but you might see someone at the gym that never looks like they train intensely or get anywhere near failure. And you might think, well, I've learned how to train hard. Like, what they're doing is, wrong. Like, I know better. But that might not be their goal. Their goal might not be to grow tons of muscle. It might be to just improve their health, improve their joint health, improve their bone density, improve their mobility, and be able to move better and just build a little bit of strength and a little bit of muscle. So I think that individuality just runs through everything that we do.
And if you do love Pilates because it gets your body moving, great. If that is your preferred movement of choice. And because this is the Unfuck Your Fitness segment, we want to back this with a little bit of science. So there was a study done back in 2015. And this study, I don't know why it's like a lot of kind of research is based just on men. There needs to be more.
Yeah, that is a bit of an issue in exercise-based research.
So this was based on men. So we had 2 groups of men. They went through an 8-week phase of doing movement with high repetitions versus lower repetitions. And I think the split was that they did 3 full body training sessions a week. Each of the training sessions had 7 exercises. And the only difference was that one of them were working within the 25 to 35 rep range, and then the other group were doing between an 8 and 12 rep range. This part's really important. So both groups were training to failure in every single set. And this was done on experienced lifters. So their training age meant that they had a good understanding of how to push to failure. So really, there's no difference between these two groups aside from that, you can say. And the results showed that there was no difference in muscle hypertrophy, so muscle development in size. And the way that they actually measured the study was looking at muscle size or muscle width, muscle endurance, and then muscle strength, and being able to lift more in their 1 rep max. And the conclusion was, funnily enough, that both groups had the same levels of hypertrophy, but the group that did endurance repetitions or high repetitions had progressions in their endurance. And then the group that did a lower rep range had further progressions in their strength and their 1 rep max. So I think they tested it on a squat, bench, and a deadlift.
I feel sorry for the guys doing 25, 30 reps.
Right, that sounds like
bench
hell.
Maybe, but squat and deadlift, no thank you. It kind of dispels 2 myths in one, that a lower rep range is going to make you big and bulky, and a higher rep range is going to make you feel toned. And when we have spoken about hypertrophy and gaining muscle, that is the building side of becoming toned. We've got the body fat and being lean enough side of it, but that study shows clear as day, it doesn't matter what rep range we do, as long as it's between 5 or 6 to 30, 35 reps.
And that we're training close to failure. And that is literally it. So find a type of movement that you enjoy. If you are looking to kind of optimize that, okay, working within that hypertrophy rep range could be a good choice for you. But, you know, that's down to how you feel and your recovery and your overall goals. And if you're finding that you have no clue what is going to be a good rep range for you or how to navigate that, that's what we're here for, so that we can take you through that and we can support you in finding a entry level that is going to be suitable for you and that you can progress in.
And any of our clients watching this, just be grateful that we don't give you sets of 30 for squats, deadlifts, hip
that would be
thrusts,
so mean.
split squats.
30 reps of split squats.
Because it would technically work.
Mate, yeah. But also you'd be fucking knackered after every single session. And to be fair, your quads and your glutes would be hench. So that would be the added bonus. If anyone voluntarily signs up for that, by the way, if anybody wants 30 reps of Bulgarians, you're crazy and I fear you.
I was actually saying to a client on a call yesterday, I was like, we were pretty much talking about this. And I was like, oh yeah, we don't train the way we program. Like, we program things for you that are much meaner.
What do you mean?
Like, you're telling me
it's all coming out now, guys.
When you write your own program, you don't go 2 sets of split squats, 6 to 8 rep range.
Maybe I'll program it and then I just maybe won't do it.
We should program for each other.
That would actually be quite a fun challenge. Yeah. You're getting 10 by 10s, German body training.
3 sets of 30 squats.
Evil. Right, hold us to this, guys. Maybe we can do a challenge and
there could be something in that.
Watch this space.
Thank you for joining us for another episode, guys. We hope you're enjoying the new format. At least it only took me 2 episodes to find the camera. So we hope you're enjoying the new format and we'll look forward to joining you guys again next week.
See you next time. Ciao.